We'll get into some Florida, South Carolina talk. If you're in Columbia this weekend, let me know. I'll be heading out a little bit on Friday night. Don't know my complete plans yet. We're taking my daughter with us, so I'm not sure. But we will be tailgating tomorrow. Harmonic Woods will be road tripping up there as well, so be on the lookout Saturday morning for the location of that. They don't have a set location just yet. Get there and see where they can start tailgating bright and early, like every Gator game. But if you're in Columbia, give me a shout. Holler at me on Twitter. See if we can meet up somewhere. But all right. Gators traveling to Columbia, 4-4. South Carolina, 4-4. Everybody, there's a saying, you are what your record is. That's definitely true to a point, but definitely looking 4-4 for both these teams right now. Probably the best example I can give is look at the Vanderbilt game. For both these teams, Florida 42-0 over Vanderbilt and struggled and still won 42-0. South Carolina needs a last second touchdown, basically, to beat Vanderbilt. So, as I've said plenty of times before, transitive property can get you in trouble. But if you kind of want to look at what these teams have been kind of going through so far this year, that might be the best example. But, that was, a month ago for Florida, a few weeks ago for South Carolina. A lot has transpired since that. So we'll see mentally where Florida's at. They're ready to play Vanderbilt or South Carolina. And South Carolina coming off a bye week, more than likely on their third-string quarterback. So who knows what you're going to get Saturday night in Columbia. Probably plenty of sandstorm, plenty of rooster crowing, but hopefully not for good reasons there for South Carolina. All right, let's go. Let's get this started. It's like Christopher. Well, never mind. He dropped out. So, all right, everybody, join in if you want to. If you got some questions, you got some comments, you just want to talk, let's get it going here. I don't know how long this one will go. I got to get on the road here coming up. Still got to pack all that good stuff, but we'll do the normal 45 minutes or so. I say that knowing it will probably go longer, but that's the plan. All right, MJ, let's get you in here. What's up, man?
How's it going, brother? You?
I'm good. Trying to warm myself up with some coffee right now.
Same. Pot just got done. So I muted all the best words for this past week, but I wanted to get your, feelings or opinions with, a temperature check with the staff. I mean, it was kind of odd for that Monday or, just kind of close shop and, shut down everyone's access. So now that we kind of had a week go by, what do you make of it, and what do you think may come out of that?
Look, I don't blame Dan Mullen whatsoever going bunker mentality. It's out there in the media, social media. There's, of course, a lot going on with Dan Mullen's future, Dan Mullen's comments, Dan Mullen's record, and with everything going on, I don't think he wants his players to have to deal with it a whole lot, knowing this week would probably bring a whole lot of those type of questions. So I don't blame him. You could say maybe is it too little too late? Is this something that maybe should have happened before? But you did have the bye week before Georgia. They probably were doing some of these things, of course. You don't have a lot of media during the bye week anyway. But this is Monday. The reports are out there enough now. It was definitely a come-to-Jesus moment for Dan Mullen, for the staff, for the players. Dan Mullen started with himself, if the reports are true, with this. He started with himself, pointing the finger at himself, but also accountability for the whole program. And that's for players. That's for his staff. That's for himself. So we'll see what comes out of it. There's a lot of different ways to kind of take that right now. It's first of all, too little, too late. That's the first thing that comes up. And I don't know that. I'm just, that's, I think, something you absolutely bring up right now. Why did it have to take 4 losses to come to this moment? Why? What I have said plenty of times before, what I don't like about Dan Mullen and his approach, I like him more than I dislike him as far as what he's done for the Florida program.
Right.
It's a little he's too reactive and not proactive enough. That's one of my biggest issues there, and that goes so many ways, so many layers. Whether it be his friends on the coaching staff, players that stay on the field, all that kind of stuff. And now even kind of big program approach of something like this bunker mentality. Why didn't something like this happen before? Why did it have to take 4 losses for this kind of to happen? Everybody start looking at themselves and asking what can be better. No, you don't let it get you don't let it get to this point. So that's but still give him credit for if this thing pays off. We won't know till Florida gets out there on the field Saturday and their approach, their mindset, and how they play. Because this should, honestly, I don't care if both teams are 4-4. I don't care what Florida has shown this year. This should be a pretty easy victory for Florida,
right?
If they come out and play like we know they can.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, I guess, so it strengthens my opinions on stepping out from Mississippi State to here. Yeah. Different dynamics in terms of pressure and all these other things, and this is to me, is the first time he's ever had to experience it. So, and just obviously, first time experiences, usually it's either the wrong one or the right one. So I think in this case, he just didn't handle it well. But like you said, he hopefully grows from it. It gets better, makes some changes, and we carry forward. So, but anyway, I was just curious more or less what you maybe heard throughout the week. But that's pretty much all I got. So I'll leave it for somebody else. Thanks again for all you do, Dave.
Thanks, MJ. Yeah, and going to that point, too, from the whole Mississippi State-Florida comparison, look, a lot of these same questions, we know they're nothing new. I've shared some stuff when Dan Mullen was hired from some Mississippi, Matt Wyatt from Mississippi State, and some of the worries that was coming from Mississippi State. So a lot of this stuff has been there. But look, Mississippi State media is not as large, not as, maybe even forceful as Florida media. And, of course, you don't have the national spotlight on you like you do at Florida compared to Mississippi State. So, yes, the pressure is there. It is different. Florida's a lightning rod program. Yeah, and, look, he knows, or he should know from his time under Urban Meyer about how big this monster is. And you've got to be able to tame it. And that comes off field, on field, everything that encompasses running a big-time program. This should come as no surprise. I think in some way it has for Dan Mullen. All right, let's get Tyler here. Hey, Tyler.
Hey, Dave, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I just got a quick little comment/complaint, and maybe I'm just, older than this newer generation of football players, but you see guys like Trey Dean on social media after a game posting a picture of him flexing on a guy as we're down 24-0, and then you got guys like Jervon Dexter out there asking, do any Gator fans own a car dealership after, humiliating loss. And is that something that fans just have to get used to these days? I mean, I understand wanting to maximize your NIL opportunities as a student athlete, but to me, it just sends the message hey, season's over. All I care about is me at this point. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I think it's a fair question. A lot of things, you can do two things. The message it sent, sometimes read the room. And that's been a kind of theme all week, right? Read the room. And now, especially the whole, and I'm not trying to throw shade on trading, but yeah, it doesn't look good when you're flexing, sending. First of all, second of all, you lost to a rival. Third, it wasn't even close. And then those type of messages come across. The NIL, I'm like I said, a little torn on that one as well. I don't, like you said, you don't really blame them, but maybe read the room type of thing. Now I don't know if anything was related and connected because we all saw the Anthony Richardson car deal come out this week. So maybe that had just kind of been a theme throughout the players this week, knowing that maybe was on the horizon that was coming, and Gervon Dexter was kind of relating to that. That doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't bother me so much. The whole NIL, I think a lot of it for me, just looking at NIL just by itself and kind of relating it to this. Look, there's a connection. You either you play good, and those NIL deals keep coming, or you don't play good, and everything you've already built with your NIL eventually just kind of goes away. So you've got to go out there and perform. You got to go out there and look for yourself, and hopefully those things are connected. If that's what it takes for a player to play good, if that is another incentive, by all means do it. But you're right; it's just the timing wasn't the best when you're looking at Florida and everything they're going through this week. But I just I don't want to go too far into it because I don't know how much of an effect that it ultimately has. But as I said, read the room sometimes, and if you question is the timing right for this type of thing, then it probably isn't.
Yeah, and I agree. And his one of my buddies, actually, Corbin Emerson, owns a State Farm in Gainesville, and he's got a deal with Gervon. But his agent was on Twitter basically saying the reason Florida's not getting recruits is because local businesses aren't giving enough to NIL. And I'm like, well, I haven't heard a bunch of NIL deals coming out of Georgia, and I know Jordan Davis doesn't have a single NIL deal, and he's about to be a top 5 draft pick. So I think people are just looking for things to blame at this point, and I saw that response from Gervon's agent, and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, and the Gator Collective is a big part. It is different at Florida. Yeah, you don't see those big time deals going by, but at the same time, I believe in talking to some people from the Gator Collective, Florida players that are part of it are making more than the average NIL deal out there, and I think more are involved. So that's a part of it that really speaks to Florida's end of it and doing it different and being fan driven. Because look, that for the most part will always be there, and the fan support. Of course, I know this year's different, and the 4-4 doesn't have a lot of people excited. But put it this week: if recruiting is an issue for you out there, and I know for a lot of people it is, in this program, there is a way for at least fans to help. But I think those deals will come. Florida's, I think, learning about it, wants to make sure it's done the right way, and those will start coming now. You see the AR deal and left and right now, and Outback and Dodge dealership now in town. They're coming. I think Florida's got the right people involved. I can tell you that much. Especially with Darren Heitner being behind a lot of the workings of the Gator Collective, making sure that's going the right way, but also in constant contact with the university. And I know the university is starting to notice the Gator Collective, and I think we'll make sure it's done the right way. But I think also find out a way to sell it. Because that's the biggest thing right now is with the NIL, find a way to work it into recruiting. Of course, you're not paying recruits through NIL, but if you come to Florida, this is what it can look like. That's going to have to start being a selling point.
Gotcha. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Tyler. Not unique. Let me get you in here, man. Hey, man, good morning.
I wanted to ask you, because I was wondering, I know you don't specifically know, but where do we go from here? Is this like, because I was listening to your show the other day, you were speaking on the strengths that we have versus what they have. It's like, it's way in our favor, but are we playing for next year, or are we playing to save?
Good question. I do think bunker mentality this week does kind of tell me that probably still trying to play for this season in some ways. Now, coaches would tell you they're going to win, try and win every game this season, and that's what their focus is winning the games. Dan Mullen has said multiple times this week, final third of the season, final third of the season, final third of the season. That's kind of what they're looking at, trying to finish this week, finish this season with some positive momentum. But of course, that's all about where these players' mindset is and how they're going to approach it. Still plenty of guys playing for draft stock and trying to raise draft stock. And now, like I said earlier, the theme of this week from Dan Mullen and the coaching staff has really been about the accountability. So how far does that accountability go? Does that mean guys who've been starting all year that aren't necessarily get the job done? Does that mean they come off the field if they're continuing to not get the job done? Does that go to practice as well? I mean, I think there's a coaching staff, the coaches, everybody. What does the word accountability mean this week? So is it preparation? Is it? I mean, to me, it of course, should be all encompassing. But how far does it go? How far does the accountability go for the rest of this season? You probably have some players. You can't. I mean, I won't say you can't blame them, but it's just the natural cause of things. Sitting at 4-4. A lot of guys probably might start looking out for themselves and might start, hopefully, remember Dan Mullen bringing up the word independent contractors at SEC Media Days. We're going to start seeing more independent contractors. And I think that's a lot of the message Dan Mullen tried to send this week was, now there's going to be accountability. If you're going to be that independent contractor, if you're going to be out there on the field, and a lot of it was not doing what we've asked you to do. And that's good as far as game plan, effort, all that stuff. And then, okay, there's going to be some accountability and you're going to come off the field. That's what I got out of it from things I've heard this week. So we'll see how that plays out. It's a lot easier said than done. And I think, of course, there's some emotion that plays into it earlier on in the week. Does that continue through the preparation? Does that continue to game time and not just, words that don't mean anything? We'll see. I mean, I think a huge mindset game for this team is, as you said, Florida has so many advantages in this game versus South Carolina. That's where I think you can tell where the mindset of this team is going to be. This is a game Florida should win. This is a game really Florida shouldn't have much trouble winning, given a lot of the advantages. So that's why I think we really can tell if where this mindset and this accountability that I've heard about all week, where it's going to come from and what it's going to mean. Because this is a game Florida should go out and control. Florida should go out and win. Thanks, Unique, for hopping in. If you guys any more of you want to hop in? Questions? Oh, yeah. Comments? Go ahead, man.
My bad, Dave. I was muted. I feel I feel like it's a head start for next year. I feel like Dan hasn't worked. He doesn't. I feel like he puts all the seniority, and then when they leave, now you're stuck with people that never seen the field. I feel like that's what happened this year. It was just it was like all the guys that we wanted to see get on the field a little bit last year, you didn't see them, and then it's like, then we're gonna start every season like this. Then it's like, that's why I was wondering, are we going to start, because if you can use these four games here, because even though you have a spring, it's still not the same as actually going out and playing another team. So that's why I was wondering, are we playing to we're going to we know we can beat South Carolina, so we're just going to beat them how we beat them, or are we going to try to actually get better and see what we suck at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and, in a game like this, I think – possibly you could do both, and that's a lot of it. Unique is for Florida, for whatever reason, when they play down to the competition, they've played down to the competition, haven't been able to get their backups in, haven't been able to go and get reps for a backup quarterback or 4th, 5th string running back. Even in SEC play this year in the easier games, it took a while. Like Vanderbilt, for example, it still took a while to see Lingard and Bowman get a consistent amount of carries. And they sprinkled them in earlier in that game, in this SEC game, and other SEC games where they didn't get a carry at all. but it still probably took a little bit longer than people wanted. It probably still took a little bit longer than people wanted for Anthony Richardson to get some reps in the Vanderbilt game. So I don't know, man. As far as what do you weigh, I mean, I know what I would do. Yeah, I'd start getting some younger guys some reps and getting them ready and still mixing it in with trying to go win the football games this year and also reward you guys who have been here. Damian Pierce still deserves carries. Malik Davis still deserves carries. But you're right. You have to start finding more of a balancing act right now for younger players to stay engaged this season, but also at the same time build your program and make sure you're going to win games. Still, first and foremost, for these 4 games, even though you want to look forward to next year, first and foremost, winning still the most important aspect of this final game stretch. It can carry a whole lot of, I know not looking too far into it, still can carry some momentum to finish the season, especially the last game of the year. You still got to go out and beat LSU.
I actually think that's going to be. It's not going to be the usual word. To me, that's a trap game for us. I just feel like it this year. Like, man, that FSU game, man, they're going to bring everything they got just because they see how they're playing.
Yeah, they smell blood in the water right now, and it's so much different than when we were looking at September in that game and what it could possibly look like. Now it's a little bit different. I still think it's a game Florida should win, and we'll see what the quarterback position looks like at that time. And if Anthony Richardson's kind of at the helm, I don't necessarily expect him to play this weekend, but we'll see. As far as your main question, what Florida's doing in preparation for that game. These Samford and the Missouri game, do we see more of Anthony Richardson and starting Anthony Richardson heading into the FSU game? But that game, I'm telling you, I mean, it's always a must-win. But when you look at the kind of teetering point right now of both programs, you hope Florida goes into it as serious as FSU is, because like I said, FSU is going to see, okay, this is our chance. We've been getting our tails kicked for a little while now, and this is kind of with all the questions surrounding Florida. This is Mike Norvell's. Okay, look, this is finally can get this tilted my way. I can finally, his first game versus Florida as well. You didn't matter when Dan Mullen was here in 2018 of what the programs were doing. You still had that losing streak versus Florida State, and you said, okay, it doesn't matter what's going on in Tallahassee. We've been getting our tails kicked by this team. I've got to go win this game. Dan Mullen went out there and made a statement. Mike Norvell's going to go try and do the same thing and try and get the program teetered back on his side in the state.
Yeah. Boy.
Yeah, but hopefully, I know what you said. I know where you're going. Hopefully, they can use these next few weeks to get better and show some excitement for next year at the same time.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. I'm just a firm believer. I mean, the players will say it. Yeah, Dan prepares backups. I just don't think he spends as much time with backups at all. It just shows on the field like it just doesn't look like it.
Yeah, and we've haven't necessarily been able, like it's been a theme under Mullen, and it's been mentioned, but you've always been able to fall back on record and say, okay, well, he's kind of doing it the right way. He's doing it his way. It's working for the most part. But now as he's built this program and he's in his 4th season, and these are a lot of his recruits, you're starting to see maybe that lack of experience,
right,
is paying off in a way that or not paying off. And look, if you go by position, it's hard to blame some of them, like wide receiver and stuff like that. I mean, how you going to argue?
Right. You can't argue that.
Yeah. So it is kind of a position by position thing. And a lot of it's for defense too, I think too. I think there's just a whole different approach there needed, of course, and we spoke ad nauseum about that. I think a lot of it's about defense too. You go back to last year, and I'm throwing the word out at accountability again, but not a lot of accountability on that side of the ball. But also, it's up for, and I'll go to that kind of theme too. It's up to these young guys too to have some accountability. Now we look at what happens on the field, and we look what happens for the guys that start, and if they make a mistake, yank them off the field and bring a younger guy on. But I mean, there's accountability off the field as well for these younger guys to do the things that they need to do to get on the field, and that's been a big. I won't say big issue, but that's been an issue. It was an issue on defense last year. A lot of the younger players we wanted to see. All right, well, don't show up late for team meetings. Go make your grades. Go show up to class on time. You really expect this staff, for what we know about this staff, you really expect them to go put a younger guy on the field if they can't show up to practice on time or they're not paying attention in practice. I mean, I know you want to see the change, but with the way we know this staff is, they're not going to throw anybody out there who doesn't have the accountability off the field. So
by the way,
maybe that's what I'm saying. Big picture approach. Maybe there's a whole different way of looking at this to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Did you see Kirby yank that guy off the field?
Yeah.
I was like, that's it right there. Boom, that's the difference.
Yeah, and that goes to the main theme too. Of, you know what? Well, I got another 5-star, 4-star behind you. You come off the field. Come off the field. I got somebody else just waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I seen that. I was like, whoa, there's a difference.
Yep. And talking about going to one of the earlier points too. Georgia, they I believe the SEC Network sitting there showing Georgia defensive players, and they're sitting there ticked off. Man, we gave up 7 points. We shouldn't be giving up 7 points.
Right.
Ticked off at their own approach, their own defensive players' approach, and going to the previous theme, you got Florida players worried about showing pictures of themselves like down 24-0 and asking for NIL deals.
Yeah,
there's a mindset there. Look, in right or wrong, that's just going to be the perception of it. It may not mean a darn. It may not mean a darn thing. But what does it look like? And that's going to lead some of the fan base the wrong way.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing, because I'm from Lakeland. It'd be one thing, like you said, the positions and stuff like that. It's hard to say when you got wide receivers that were loaded like that. But when you're looking at your special teams, the way it looks,
there you go.
Then it's like, okay, now this is a problem because these are the positions. Dan likes to be safe all the time, and I just don't think safe gets you anywhere. And I feel like that's what's happening. But like some of these guys, I watch Finley Graham at Lakeland, and man, I don't see how he hasn't got one snap at return. But
completely agree.
Oh.
Yeah, and there is a chance right there. I mean, Florida's almost dead last in so many special teams categories. Okay, what's it going to hurt?
Exactly.
Coaches don't think that way, though, for some reason.
Yeah, well, all right. Good talking to you, Dave.
All right, man.
Yo.
See you later. All right. Charlotte Gator getting in here. And Tyler, I think, wants back in here. Hey, man. Oh, not much. Just hanging out with you guys before heading up to South Carolina.
I'm in Charlotte right now, walking outside the Starbucks, and it's about 40 degrees right now. So enjoy it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. No, I want to ask a quick question. I mean, let's say for sake of argument that Mullen goes ahead and clears out Todd and all the defensive. Do you think he's going to make any changes to the offensive side? Because I really don't think he will.
Good one. Yeah, I do. Not maybe as many as people want. I think Gonzalez is safe. One of Knox or Hevesy should go. Which one? Take your pick. Before the season, I heard Hevesy more than likely not going to be back. Then some people have kind of backed off on that. Some people are still standing behind that. We know if you will include Knox there with special teams not being where they should be, a lot of people will point to running back recruiting. That one's kind of tricky. Knox could have had some guys that at least a fan base has wanted at the running back position, but kind of just been overruled by Mullen saying they're not going to go that route with some of these running backs. I do think it's hard to pinpoint where that change would be on offense. I do think it'll happen. I think one of those will happen. One of those has to happen. Because you've got to get better recruiters on staff. Whether these guys are, in Dan Mullen's eyes, some of the best coaches out there, you've got to start going both ways here.
I hope this week was, kind of like you mentioned earlier, a coming to Jesus moment for him too. Like if he really wants to keep this job, and I'm all about it. Like I would rather have Dan in here right now if he's going to, but I feel like he just needs to take it more seriously.
Yeah, here's the thing about that. I know it came up in the Gators Breakdown Plus Discord chat, and Josh Pate, everybody knows. Well, no, I won't say everybody knows, but a lot of people know, very popular, all-encompassing college football podcast now for 24/7 Sports. And Josh Pate said last night on his show that people are starting to take notice about this Florida situation, and coaches and agents are keeping an eye on it, and they don't know where it stands right now. So that's, Josh Pate's not all for sensationalism to me, and maybe he is for you guys. I listen to Josh Pate. I think he content and really good content there as far as that goes. And I go back to September. The last time he said something along those lines was when talking about LSU, and we all know what happened there. So of course, if Dan Mullen wins out, I don't think there's, if he wants to be at Florida, he'll be at Florida. If you lose another game, I think all bets are off. But I think, with coaches and the agent message starting to get out there that they're not sure where this is going, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to get out of this cold. You guys have fun.
All right, man.
Hey, Dave, I just wanted to follow up real quick on something Unique said about our guys being underprepared and not getting a lot of reps last year. And what that all boils down to is we didn't have a defense. Yeah. I mean, there were very few games last year that we were up enough to where we could put the guys in to get reps. I mean, LSU, Georgia, with Georgia at first, they were A&M, Alabama, which you're not going to play backups against Alabama. But, I mean, almost every game outside of a couple have been absolute shootouts. Yeah. And it's been kind of the same thing this year. We can't get a stop. If you can't get a stop, the backups can't get reps, and then they're going to look ill-prepared next year. So it's kind of the same story, and that's why it's so frustrating keeping Todd Grantham around, because it kind of just cripples, and inadvertently it cripples the other side of the ball as well as far as preparation goes.
Yeah, and kind of to extend that, that's why a lot of people are frustrated with the playing down the competition. Okay, you play down the competition, you're not getting your guys in. Now look, at the beginning of the season, you would see at points in the game where maybe an almost whole second team defense would come in, and you'd see younger guys get in on the field, but not much of a difference in a lot of these SEC games where you're expecting Florida should be up by even more later in the games, where you can get those guys sometimes. So we have seen at times younger, especially the FAUs and the USFs of the world, where at least on defense, where they couldn't necessarily pull away, or you'd see the FAU or USF finally put up some points, and mostly because a second team defense was out there. But it's not enough. I guess we could probably say, if we want to put a quantity on it, that the reps aren't meaning a whole lot, especially in SEC play. That's where the difference is. So,
yeah, I just wanted to follow up real quick, Dave. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, go ahead. That's fine. All right. I don't think anybody else in here right now, but yeah, thanks for guys for hopping in here. I'll stay on for a couple more, see if anybody else wants to get in here. I'm looking forward to seeing Florida play. Not looking forward to bundle up. I hate the cold weather, so that's absolutely the Florida in me there. All right, Levi, let me get you in here. Hey, Levi.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, man. How about you?
Doing good. You're talking about the cold weather. I live about 45 minutes from Knoxville, and it's 44 degrees this
Yeah,
morning.
there we go.
So it's. I mean, night game in Columbia. I tell you, it's going to be cold. Question: I just hopped on because I just left the utility where I work there. Have we got any update on Richardson at all?
Nothing official. I've been told don't expect, but don't completely close the door yet. I don't know what happened Wednesday in practice. He did not practice Monday, did not practice Tuesday. I don't know about Wednesday and yesterday yet. So I was told Wednesday don't expect it, but don't completely shut the door on it just yet. So we'll see. I wouldn't expect it honestly. And we'll see where that goes. Emery's dealing with a little bit of a thumb injury as well, so hopefully that's not too serious. I expect Emery Jones to start and play. Just be on the lookout for that hand injury as well. So I don't think it's too serious. I think if it was serious enough, I probably would have been told to worry about it just a bit more. So I mean, just looking at it there. But cold weather, all that kind of stuff too, maybe plays a factor in that. But no official update on Richardson, except for what Dan Mullen did say this week that he did miss practice Monday and Tuesday because of the concussion protocol there, and making sure that he'll be ready to go. If he doesn't practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, knowing Dan Mullen, I doubt he throws him out there as starter. But we'll see. We'll see. But I say don't expect it, but don't completely throw it away just yet.
Gotcha.
And if I hear anything more, of course, I'll try and put it out there somewhere today. But
Sounds good. Other than the two quarterbacks, are we pretty healthy? Is there anybody that's expected to be out of the game?
I'd like to see where Florida's at on the offensive line. With Ethan White, maybe seeing where Florida's at with that. But overall, no. Mullen didn't really go into it Monday, and I haven't really heard everything. The flu's going around, so that's something to look out for. Now we'll have to see if anybody's sick and missing the game, but that is something the team is dealing with right now.
Wow. Yeah, Mullen's not really given any updates, period, in press conferences anymore. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Hated I jumped on late and probably asked questions that you guys have already covered, but hopefully we can get a win. Hopefully we can get a win and get the bull out of the ditch, so to speak. So I appreciate it, guys.
All right, man. Thank you much. All right, yeah, something to look out for there as far as Richardson's availability. Hopefully it's all is good. At least if he can't go this week, hopefully be primed and ready to go for the last 3 games of the season. There for Anthony Richardson, but yeah, that is something to look out for too. Flu going out kind of through the team on campus for sure, and I've been told it is being kind of going around the players as well. So we'll see if anybody misses the game because of that. So if it's, I guess, look for guys who we don't know have been injured or anything like that, and if they're not playing and if there's not a reason, like if it's a big enough story, of course, Dan Mullen will probably mention it to the broadcast team today in interviews or tomorrow in interviews and stuff. So, but it's kind of, if he doesn't, and there's guys that we haven't heard of being injured and all that kind of stuff, and they're not out there playing, that might be why. All right, I guess we'll call it right here soon. Like I said, if you're in Columbia, I will post where we're tailgating at. Dress warm. Come tailgate with us. I'll post it on Twitter tomorrow morning where we'll be located at. Don't have a set spot yet because Hermite Woods they're bringing a whole setup, trailer, DJ trailer, all that kind of stuff there. So they have to have a spot big enough. Looking for that, so they'll be out there early tomorrow morning looking for a spot to get that tailgate going. So I know a few of you are making the trip to Columbia, and we'll have fun. We'll have a good time. Night game, so long day of tailgating there. But yeah, make sure you listen to Florida South Carolina preview. You get plenty there to dive into. Will Gunter from up there in Columbia, 107.5 The Game, joins me. Gives a really good preview of South Carolina. I give you my path to a victory for Florida. It's simple. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball some more. All right. I don't see anybody else in here, and going about 45 minutes right here anyway, so that will do it. Let me go get packed up, hit the road, and if I hear anything else as far as player, AR, quarterback related, I'll put it out there somewhere. But everybody take care. Thanks so much for listening to this Spaces chat here on Twitter, and I'll see you next week on Gators Breakdown.